I went to Rahat Bakery with 3 coins in my coat pocket to buy 3 burgers. I ordered 3 burgers as I left. The boy packed 3 burgers and cut a bill of 120 rupees and pointed to the counter while holding it in my hand. I picked up the shopping bag and reached the counter. He handed over the bill to the counter and began to rummage through his own empty pockets. For 2 minutes I continued to pretend. The counter guy was watching me carefully because I was never a good actor. "Uncle, put the shopper. And bring money. Then take burger," said the counter guy with great style. I felt as if he abused my poverty. Even after hearing this, I could not keep shopping. I thought for a moment that I would run, then I thought that if I get caught, someone's moral will be broken. If I do, what should I do? I was lost in my thoughts. When I turned around, a glass or 2 hit me and my left wrist hit Hasina's shoulder. I don't know whose fault it was. Her greatness was that instead of attacking me, she said sorry, paid the bill and left. I followed him with my eyes and found out that a handsome young man was waiting for him in the car. As soon as the girl left the bakery, the young man opened the door while sitting in the car. She quickly got into the car and left. When my wrist was on her shoulder, I realized that I was wearing a brand new Casio watch. I took off the watch and gave it to the person sitting at the counter along with the bill. As proudly as I presented the watch to him, the person sitting at the counter said more contemptuously than that, "Uncle, this is a bakery, not a watch shop. You keep this watch, I will give you 120 rupees and take my watch. Hold your watch, put the shopper and go out." That man had regularly insulted me. I want to put my heart under his ear. What is the poor thing? But this was not the solution to the problem. I took the path of reconciliation and said very innocently, "Uncle, burgers are my take at any cost." "Okay, then you sell this watch to me for 120. You can't give a watch instead of 120 rupees while giving account to the owners at night, can't you?" I keep the watch myself and put 120 rupees into the account from my pocket. But this is brand new, worn today for the first time. Its price is much higher than 120. He turned the watch towards me. Instead of grabbing the clock, I thought it better to grab the shopper that had 3 burgers. When I turned around, the same 2 glasses I had bumped into were looking at me intently, like trying to identify. "Sorry, I didn't see it." I said this and walked away. "May I ask your name?" the young lady asked before I left. "Mars Majid." "It's a pleasure to meet you." "Me too." I answered him and came out of the bakery. I kept a bill of 120 in my pocket above my heart. "It's very tasty," Sundis said as soon as he took the first bite of the burger. Bisma looked at me as she removed the white paper dressing over her burger. I was looking at him lovingly. "You didn't bring anything for yourself?" Bisma asked seriously. I shook my head in the negative. Bisma got up and came to me and gave me half a burger and said, "Eat half and half." "You eat, I'm not hungry." "Love grows by eating together," Bisma said shyly. Sundis immediately looked up at us. Now I too was not paying any attention to Sundis. I've eaten big burgers in my life, but that half burger tasted like something else. Maybe Bisma's hands were on him. After finishing the burger, Bisma said, "Nada, you sit near Sundis, me and Meraz bring tea from the canteen for both of you." Bisma got up from her seat and plucked a rose flower from the garden and presented it to me with great confidence. I looked at Sundis and Nida and then took the flower from Bisma's hand. Bisma had declared her love. I became a coward because of Bisma's honor. Bisma's love made me brave. Bisma extended her tender palm towards me. I moved the rose from my right hand to my left hand. He placed his hand on her palm. Bisma's palm was as soft as rose petals. Even today I feel the touch of Basma on my hand. I got up from my seat and walked along with Bisma. Tea was an excuse. Both of us sat at some distance in front of Sundus and Nita and engaged in conversation. Maruz. Taya Ji has asked for my relationship for Ijmal. Ami has put it off by saying that I am studying right now. You also do something. I send mom and grandma for relationship. I replied with a fit. Do something. Ijmal owns a shuttering business, earns good money. My last semester is going on, how can I quit studying and work? I got a heavy slap on my neck. For a moment, my parrots flew away. When I looked back, Kalo was standing there. Kalo Rashid looked at Bisma with eyes sharper than a sword. She silently bowed her neck and walked silently in front of Kalo. Kalo Rashid would have beaten me more if I was not in the public place. After this insult, I did not even dare to meet my grandmother. I bowed my neck and walked towards Gulmandi from Kant. While climbing the mall from Canal Rower, I looked at the canal in which dirty water was flowing. My heart wanted to jump into this dirty water and kill myself, but it was a small canal. It just wet me, I couldn't drown, because I was a very good swimmer too. Even if I wasn't a swimmer, stupid lovers die a little. Not even the dirty water of a canal can enter their throat until they have drunk their share of disgrace. Despite being an expert swimmer, I could not cross the class canal. Where wealth is more important to humans than love. I threw those 3 coins in that dirty water. When I reached home from the hospital with a sad heart, I was greeted by a Butchie's crackling voice. Where is that watch? Which watch? What Arifa gave you as a gift? I have never seen my father so angry. I couldn't understand why Abu found out that I had sold that watch for 120 rupees. I was thinking with emphasis on the mind. Who was Abu's acquaintance in the bakery who told this news to Abu before my arrival? Son, tell me. Asked mother kindly. That's. What happened to mother? They are fine, aren't they? Ami immediately became soft. Abu was also somewhat cold. Nanny is fine, don't worry. I consoled her while holding her hand. Muscles of an owl, because of that watch. Tanvir has refused to marry Arifa. Abuji, I do not understand. Are you listening? Mira's mother. I don't understand how he is so forgetful. Mother looked at me with complaining eyes and then started saying. The day mother and I asked you, you would have told me that you and Arifa like each other. No matter how good a girl is, she cannot be better than Arifa. Ami ji. You are misunderstanding. There is nothing like that between me and Arifa. There is nothing like that, so why are you taking gifts from him for years? He has told that the clothes you are wearing today. He has gifted them all to you. This pant, shirt, belt, coat, only boots you bought with my money. Abuji was right. Maro's mother, give him food. Abuji said this and went to his room. Who was hungry? I had no idea what the fuss was about. I requested Ami. Mommy, tell me the whole story. First you tell me everything. Mom asked me in reverse. What should I say? I asked with an open mouth. Maruz, I did not expect this from you. Ami said this in a complaining manner and went to the kitchen. After a while, there was groundnut dal and 2 rotis in front of me. Put the dishes in the kitchen. Ami said while going to her room. After eating half of the burger I was crazy enough to eat peanut butter. I picked up the dishes in the same way and put them in the kitchen. All night I kept seeing Bisma's face. I also forgave Kalo Rashid as Basma Kebab. If he was not Bisma's father, he would have slapped me. Ami Abu's displeasure and her anger did not matter to me. Whenever Taya's elder daughter Kulsum had a disagreement with her in-laws, Tanvir and Arifa's relationship would break. With Kulsum's reconciliation, Arifa and Tanvir's relationship would automatically be restored. It was routine. The next day I wanted to go to the hospital again, but at the same time I was afraid of Rashid. Instead of going to college, he reached Nabil's shop. When Nabil was told the whole story, he asked, "When your aunt slapped you, you were not even holding Bisma's hand." The heart was wanting, but she said, "I myself have held your hand, now don't try to touch me." If I had held her hand, she would have slapped Kalo herself. Meaning? Nabil asked with a bad face. It means, she says you can't touch me before we get married. You must have touched Sonia. Nabil guessed with great confidence. I shook my head innocently. So you are very unworthy, Lelo. Nabil said in a harsh tone. I have not been able to see Sonia for the rest of my life. Son, let go of love and affection, this is not your business. Me and Farzana Pindi went to the wedding. Your brother was holding Farzana's hand all the way. Nabil, tell me what I should do. Don't listen to your love stories. The whole night she was lying with her head on my chest. Nabil made another joke. I also know, tell me what to do. I was getting very angry with Nabil, but he was not paying any attention to my anger. So don't have any contact with Bisma for a few days. Look at the oil and look at the oil flow. Nabil spoke like an experienced lover. The next day passed in great anxiety. The next day I reached home after college leave. Tammy immediately informed me. Mom! He is fine and he has also been discharged from the hospital. Amy was smiling slightly looking at me. I was afraid that Amy has come to know about the 3 burgers thing and Kalo's slap has also come to know. When Abu comes home at night, I hide from him too. There was no smile on Abu's face, there was no sadness. That day also passed by God. When he returned from college on the 3rd day, both mother and father were getting ready to go somewhere. Abu usually returned home from his shop late at night. On that day, he came home on time. I was surprised to see Abu, but at the same time I was afraid of him. When Abu left the room, I quickly asked Amy. Where is the preparation? Going to get married? Maro's mother, come and go. Abu said after kicking Vespa. Amy took the warm blanket on her shoulder and replied. IG. If Harim and Tahirim come from tuition, then stay with them. Potato spinach I have cooked and bring the rotis from the oven. Amy had said everything in one breath while going out. When Nabil returned from his shop in the evening, he met him on the roof and Nabil asked me. Any good news of Bisma? You yourself advised that the matter is hot. Do not try to contact Bisma for 2 or 4 days. Today is the 3rd day. He didn't answer his phone. Where does the phone come from? You guys have had a bad number for a week. Tir Tay Sajid's number is right. Tai has already washed her hands behind me. They would have had another opportunity to defame me. Yar would have given the number of the shop. In your absence, if his phone would come, your father would hear the call and immediately inform him. That's right too. Nabil immediately supported my point. Tomorrow you call yourself and say hello. When the love period ended, the pigeons started. Nabil and I sat on the terrace till late night and talked about pigeons. I heard the sound of a Vespa in the street. I hurriedly went down the stairs and opened the door of the house. There was my mother standing in front. Where has Abba gone again? I asked while peering into the street. To return the Vespa, Amy said as she entered the house, removing her warm blanket from her shoulders and went to her own room. I also followed behind them. Did you have an affair with Bisma? Amy asked calmly, but it was difficult for me to answer her. Chakar. I tried to pretend. Today she cried a lot after hugging me, Amy said while sitting on the chair. Why did she have an operation? I asked, As if I did not know Bisma. No, marriage. Marriage is like an operation. Ami replied with a faint smile. Whose wedding? I could only ask nervously, as the outer door began to knock. There my heart began to sink. Go quickly, your father is here. Ami said strongly. I opened the door with heavy steps. As soon as Abu saw me, he put his hand on my shoulder and asked. Ya Miraz, when will your course end? It is the last year. Abu put his hand on my shoulder and brought me with him to his room. Maraz's mother has completed her course, so I have married her with the same simplicity. Abuji said while sitting on a chair and taking off his boots and socks. What is his age now? Give him something to do. It has become 21 and 22. Bisma was even younger than this. She has become her own home. I thought it best to get out of there quickly before I started crying. If I don't get married to you, I will die. Lying on the bed, I remembered one thing Bisma had said. I got up from the bed wiping my tears and went to the roof. Sitting on a broken chair in a corner, I spoke to myself. Basma, you have cheated me so much. Someone had a delicate hand on my shoulder. I also put my hand on his hand. Then someone's lips opened near my ear in a whisper. I will never deceive you. I got scared. When I looked back, Ali was bending over with her lips on my ear. You. Here. In the middle of the night, I screamed. He quickly put his delicate hand over my mouth and pleaded with his eyes to be quiet. I calmed down. He again spoke a sentence in my ear. I am telling you that I will marry you. As soon as she said this, she walked away from there. He looked back before descending the stairs to his house. Even in the cold I had sweat on my forehead. What did Ali say? Somewhere she didn't go crazy. I always considered Ali as my sisters. I was mourning my love. Ali explained the disease of his love. Now my heart was forced to think about Ali instead of Bisma. That day I found out that the mind thinks as well as the heart. After that night, every time Ali would bring milk for us on the roof, I would keep my eyes down, and few days passed like this. Nanny also came to our side from the township. That night Ami Abu called me to her room to discuss something important. Nanny was also sitting with him. I wanted to ask Nanny a lot about Bisma, but I didn't get a chance to talk to Nanny in private. Before talking to my grandmother, Abuji said, I want to marry you. I looked at everyone in surprise. Ami was smiling, but Abu's face was serious. Is there no language in my mouth? Abu's tone was bitter this time. Marriage. I'm going to have papers. The marriage will take place only after the papers, Abuji said decisively. But Abuji, I am unemployed. I never once asked him who the girl was. Make your own passport. Sajid Bhai will take you to Saudi Arabia. Yes, better. I stood up from my seat. Mara's son. They will not ask about the girl. Nanny addressed me seriously. I looked suspiciously at the grandmother and shook my neck in the negative. I was lying on my bed when Granny came and sat next to me and started rubbing her fingers on my head with great love. I turned my face away in frustration. Are you angry with me? Nanny asked with great love. What should not happen? Basma is not my daughter's daughter. It was beyond my power to decide his life. Ajmal is not lucky enough to get Bisma. Unfortunate is Bisma who lost you. Arifa is also a very good girl and she loves you very much. Where did Arifa come from? I asked, raising my nose. You are getting married since Arifa. Nanny told me with great satisfaction. I was in a quandary whether to ask my grandmother first or not. You wanted me to marry Bisma. Arfa and Tanvir's engagement broke. What is my fault in this? How can I and Arifa get married? My papers were done and I was looking for a job. At the same time I also started visiting a big electronics workshop in Hall Road. Kulsum Baji's fight with his in-laws had become quite long this time. When there was a wedding in Taiji's uncle's homeland, Taiji and Tai moved there. After Tayaji's TV broke down, Abu ordered me to go and fix his TV. His wires have been cut with scissors, I told. I know. Kulsum Baji said proudly. Why? I asked in surprise. Because of your love, I am sitting here. You are the one who does not come around here. My love, who is talking to Baji? I asked Kulsum Baji many questions at once. Kulsum Baji was shocked by my answer. Don't you love Arifa? Who told you? Arfa says that you also love her. Who does she say? I asked confused. From me. Kulsum Baji looked at me with questioning eyes. Kulsum Baji, I have not understood myself till today who loves whom. The confusion between me and Kulsum Baji was also removed by Arifa. Oh. You know. I love you. It's for your sake that I broke off the engagement with Tanvir. When did I say that you break the engagement with Tanvir? I separated myself from Arifa's one-sided love in front of Kulsum Baji. Arifa, if my house is destroyed, you will be the main reason for it. Kulsum Baji said to Arifa in a reproachful manner and walked away from there. What was the need to speak all this in front of Baji? Whatever you do, I will never let you marry anyone other than me. Arifa had openly threatened me in straight lines. Arifa also left there stamping her feet. I had gone to Tayaji's house to fix the TV. Arifa in turn repaired me. I quickly fixed the TV and left there. Whenever Arifa had to meet me, she would open the TV herself and cut some of its wires. One day after 2 months of Bisma's marriage, Nanny began to tell me the details. When I came home from the hospital, I found out that Rashid had fixed Bisma's relationship with Ajmal. Bisma cried a lot, but Rashid did not listen to her. Your aunt's daughter-in-law and Sundus had filled your aunt's ears against Bisma and your aunt. At night Bisma said that I will eat poison but I will not marry Ajmal under any circumstances. Rashid said if you don't marry Ajmal, I will divorce your mother and kick her out of the house. It used to arrange your meetings with that bastard. After listening to Nanny's words, the blood circulation in my body accelerated. Nanny started the conversation again. Asia said, Basma will marry Ajmal, but I also have a condition. Rashid said to Fit. Speak. You will never stop me from seeing my sisters. Accepted. They will be invited to the marriage and will not mention anything to them. This is also accepted. Nanny wiped the tears from her eyes and said. Mara's son. Bisma was not unfaithful, she was forced. Even if she did, what would she do? What was Sania? I asked Nanny in a hug. She was greedy. I explained a lot to him when the hair dealer relationship came for him. Sania Bedi Meraz is a very nice boy who will make you very happy. Sania said. How will Nano be happy? They live in a rented house. He is studying in a government college. Even if found, he can get a menial job in a factory. He has no future. While Kuram has his own bungalow and car. I will indulge with Kuram. Leaving Kuram and marrying Meraz would be foolish. Grandma, why did you always try to make my relationship towards your daughters? I asked sadly. Nanny took a cold breath and sadly said. Meraz wanted to cement new relationships on the old walls of relationships in my son. I do not get it. I can only tell you. I can't understand. Why did you want that? New relationships strengthen and weaken old relationships. I also wanted to strengthen the weak bonds between my daughters. Grandma, from your words, I am feeling as if my status was like brick, sand, cement for you. Nanny quickly hugged me to her chest and said in a raspy voice. Don't get me wrong, Mirza's son. When your children are young, you will like your grandmother perfectly. Allah knows that my intentions were clear. If your intention was clear, why did it not succeed? Because of your poverty. My poverty. I have never felt poverty except for one day in my entire life, and that was the day when I went to Rahat Bakery with empty pockets to buy 3 burgers. I had my own bicycle and used to get good pocket money from Abu. I also got a loan from Arifa. Every day at night, a bowl of milk would come for me along with Nabil. On the day off, Nabil and I used to have breakfast outside, sometimes with Faj's pies, sometimes Fikes lassi, cakes nihari. Today Nanny called me poor. I never saw my poverty in the mirror of my mind. I was rich in heart and considered it as rich. Sonia did not see your love, she only saw your poverty. In the same way Rashid was also hated. He has given his daughter's hand in full hands instead of empty hands. Nanny, truly, Sonia or Bisma had nothing in her heart for me. Sonia spat out your love and Bisma swallowed it. It was said at once that I had to face such a harsh reality for the first time in my life, both inside and outside. A donkey is also known as a horse. I thought Golamandi was the business district of New York. According to me, the richest people in the world were the residents of Golamandi. Arifa is a very good girl. Nanny spoke the same line for Arifa after Sonia, Bisma. I remained silent hearing this. If it was so good, why would Tanvir end the years-old engagement with her? Because of you. Nanny put another charge on me. What I have done. The things that Sajid used to bring from Sadia for his future son-in-law. You used to take those things from Arifa. By God, Grandma, I never asked Arifa for anything. She herself keeps giving me gifts. And you take. Just think, why would a girl give her fiancé's things to someone else? What did I know that they used to bring things for Tayaji Tanvir? Arfa loves you very much. I loved Sonia from childhood and Bisma was in love with me from childhood. Neither Sonia found me nor Bisma could find me. Even before the marriage of Kulsum Baji, Tanvir is in love with Arifa. Should I see Tanvir's love or Arifa's love? If Tanvir had love for Arifa, he would not have broken the engagement with her. If you are unfaithful, the engagement will break even, I told my grandmother. For whose sake has Arifa been unfaithful to Tanvir? For your sake. I was lost in thought after listening to Nanny's words. Hey, I forgot. Saying this, Nanny got up from her seat and took out a packet from her bag which was wrapped in a pink gift paper. This was bought by Bisma for you. I held it and got up from my sister's room and came to my room. I took out my big wooden box from under my bed in which I used to keep my special things. He put the gift in it and locked it again. I ran up the stairs. Tears were coming out of my eyes. When he reached the roof, Nabil was standing in front of him. Shurban sure, men don't look good while crying. Nabil comforted me by hugging me on his chest, but there were tears that he didn't accept any consolation. They were constantly flowing. One got engaged and the other got married. I wanted both of them to break up. I said with a wounded voice. Milk, brother. Ali had reported his arrival while standing next to Nabil. I quickly wiped my wet eyes and picked up a cup of milk from the tray. Ali went from there saying something more. Why are you behind me? I shouted to Arifa. A triumphant smile appeared on his lips. Now I have fallen in love with you. Arifa said with great pride. As if you have conquered me. I reminded him in a dead voice. We are not married yet. The days have been set and the marriage will also take place. I don't want to marry you. I said bluntly. I love you and I want to marry you. Arifa said to Alfit. I smiled slightly. Why are you smiling? Arifa immediately asked. That's why you have taken away the smile from the lips of two men. After hearing my words, Arifa did not miss this. Now Arifa had a smile on her lips. Leave Tanvir's talk alone, Arifa said rudely. Was it his fault? I asked softly. Oi! You tell me what is my fault. I have left Tanvir for you, you have never even looked at me with love. Arifa was emotional. I said nothing more and got up. Oh! Where are you going? Arifa asked indecisively. Hall Road. Go and fix the TV. The TV will be fine, what about life? Arifa, you have ruined my and Tanvir's life because of your stubbornness. I fixed the TV and went on my way. Hashtag. A few days later, one day I was walking on the roof in a fit of anxiety. Nabil had gone to Gujranwala to leave Ali's dowry. I was supposed to get married to Arifa on the coming Friday. 2 days after that, on Sunday, Ali's procession took place. Despite the cold, I did not want to go down. I also knew that Nanny was waiting for me in my room. Ali appeared with a bowl of sugar on a tray. Maruz, I have brought you warm milk. Why did you bring hot milk for me? I replied while eating the heat. Ali's face grew serious. My heart was wanting me and the order was given. Go take the milk, I did not drink. I said in a harsh tone. You don't want to marry Arifa, do you? Ali asked innocently. I looked at him angrily. My anger didn't make any difference in Ali's behavior, she said with the same seriousness. You don't want to marry Arifa and I want to marry Anwar. You go down, what will your family think? I shouted angrily. My family has faith in me, Ali answered with great confidence, looking into my eyes. If these actions continue, confidence will rise. Love is another name for trust. How can you love if you don't trust me? You stop your nonsense and get out of here. I lost my mind. I will not be Anwar's bride and I will not let Arifa be yours. Ali said with great patience and conviction and went downstairs. My anxiety had increased. Hashtag. Preparations for my marriage were going on in our house. Ami and my sisters were busy cleaning the house. I was cleaning the yard after cleaning the rooms. Ali appeared empty-handed to me coming down the stairs. Aunt! Your sister got a call from Multan. She will call again in 10 minutes. Well done, son. Nanny raised her neck while picking rice and asked worriedly. BBG is good. He has something important to say. Ali replied calmly looking at me. I was already seeing him. Our eye-to-eye conversation could not be hidden from Nanny's eyes. After washing her hands, Amiji wiped her face with a towel and said to Nanny. Mom, let's go. Come and listen to Atiya's important matter. Nanny had no intention of leaving. Amiji went to Nabil's house to listen to Aunt Atiya's phone call. Ali sat next to Nanny. How many days until your marriage, Ali's son? Nanny asked without looking at Ali while picking rice. There are 4 days left for Maro's marriage. Ali said to Ola while looking at me. I had also finished my work and was looking at Ali. I have asked for your marriage. Not for Mira's marriage. Nanny replied with suppressed anger in the presence of seriousness. My marriage is 1 day after Maro's marriage, BBG. Grandma. The tea. Harim reported while placing the tray of tea in front of Nanny. When did I ask for tea? Nanny asked while raising the cup of tea in a questioning manner. Harim pointing the same tray towards Ali replied. I made it for my great-grandmother. I thought I would make it for you and my brother too. Nanny biscuits. Tahirim was standing in front of Nanny holding 2 plates. These biscuits and Namco are also for Ali Baji. Nanny asked looking at Harim and Tarim in a worried tone. When we go to Ali Baji's house, she feeds us so much. Haram said with great pleasure. Tarim also spoke quickly. I wanted Ali Baji to be our sister-in-law. Prohibition, think and speak. I scolded to hear him. There was a moment of silence. Sorry, Tarim spoke in a low voice. Harim took over, cleaning up on Tahirim's behalf. That by Tarim meant to be our sister-in-law like Ali Abaji. Nanny remained silent during the entire scene. Except Nanny, all of us were drinking tea while looking at each other. Nanny was busy trying to read the writings on everyone's faces. Meanwhile, Amiji entered the courtyard in a state of happiness. Mother! Congratulations, Sania's wedding is after the first month of Eid. Atiya Baji was telling that you people will get marriage cards in a few days. We will go to Multan for Sania Baji's wedding. Tarim, who was sitting in shock, got up after hearing this. She forgot everything he had said a few minutes ago. It will be a lot of fun. Harim could not hide her happiness either. There was a happy atmosphere. Abu Ji also came carrying numerous shopping bags. Here is the mother of Maros. I have brought everything that was written in the list. Haram, take the goods from your father. Ami ordered my sisters. They both quickly grabbed all the shopping bags from Abu and went inside. Ali also kept her empty cup and she too went up the stairs. Sania's wedding is next month. Ami gave the happy news to Abu on her behalf. Abu made a face and said, let's spend new money. It was a matter of concern for Abu. Whoever said it is right. One nation's hero is another nation's villain. One person's happiness is another's sadness. It was a matter of happiness for Sania that she was about to get married to Kuram, a dealer. I don't know why I was in pain. Miraz remembered. Sajid's brother and sister-in-law met on the way. Their TV is broken again, so come and fix it. On this TV. I was on fire after hearing the news of Sania's marriage. Abo ordered to fix the TV from above. Go, Sajid Bhai has to watch the news at 9 o'clock. I picked up my toolbox and left the house. Hashtag. Arifa opened the door before Taya rang the doorbell. Like she was waiting for me. As soon as I entered Taya's house, Arifa began to say anxiously. Maros, I have to talk to you, very important. I was going towards the TV room with fast steps and Arifa was following behind me. I started to open the TV and Arifa held my hand. Only one wire is cut. TV will be fine. You listen to me. Arifa said in a harsh tone. I didn't like his harsh tone. I was already angry. I picked up that TV and hit it hard on the ground. The TV broke into several pieces. It won't be okay now. Arifa was going to be afraid of my anger. Fuck the TV, you listen to me. Arifa was not sorry for breaking the TV, she had her own. Speak. Someone is cooking khichdi at Aunt's house. Kulsum Baji got a call. Someone has told Tanvir that Arifa is your lover. She is drowning for you. The place is if Arifa got married to Miraz. So what should I do? I replied bitterly. Why are Miraz angry? I don't want to marry Tanvir, I love you. Do something for God's sake. Arifa said with great love. I have never seen Arifa speak in such a sweet language before. That's always, crack, oi. Was talking to I was also somewhat mellow. Tell me what to do. You go and tell Tanvir yourself that I am your cycle. I heard Arifa's words and smiled at her stupidity. Why, what happened? Arifa did not understand the reason for my smile. Thinking that you are obsessed with me, he broke off his engagement with you. Hearing my words, Arifa fell into a deep thought. I walked from there. Arifa quickly spoke without thinking. Tell him that I am going to be the mother of your child. I was shocked to hear Arifa's words. My steps stopped. I turned around and looked at Arifa. Say it. If you say this, he will never refuse to marry me. Arifa gave me the next advice. Tayaji's phone was lying nearby. I grabbed Arifa by the wrist and made her stand near the telephone and said, "You will have the number of Tanvir's shop. You call him and tell him everything yourself." Arifa then hit Tanvir. The day before Arifa and I's marriage, it was very cold and foggy. After Isha prayer, all of us in the family were sitting in Ami Abu's room with the heater installed. Ali first applied Mendi to Tahirim. At that time she was applying Mendi to Harim. Ami, Abu and Nani were enjoying Kashmiri tea. I was lost in my thoughts. Someone started knocking on the outer door of the house. Abu beckoned to me. I quickly ran outside. When the door was opened, Kulsum Baji was standing in front of it. His hair was disheveled and his eyes were red. "You and Arifa have ruined my house, Meruz," Kulsum Baji said while pushing me on the shoulder and walked towards Ami Abu's room. I locked the door and followed them. "Uncle, save me from ruin. Abu is not listening to me." Kulsum Baji was praying in front of Abu with folded hands. Abu lifted Kulsum Baji from his feet and made her sit in front of him. "Tell me what happened," Abu asked very kindly. "Uncle, my in-laws have said that if Arifa and Meruz get married, they will divorce me. My mother and father said let the divorce happen. This day-to-day book will kill you. I don't want a divorce. They have also taken away my children from me. Uncle, for the sake of Allah, save my house from destruction." But this relationship was broken by Tanvir himself. Abu said in a state of concern. Kulsum Baji gritted her teeth and said, "Even now Tanvir has died. Says Arifa, my childhood fiancée. How can she become Meraz's wife? Chacha ji, don't you do something, what is my fault in this?" "What does Shabir say?" asked Ami quickly. "Auntie. What he has to say is also speaking the language of his family. He says Arifa is ours, it is a question of our honor. The respect that was there was thrown out of the house, what respect are they talking about now?" Nani said in depression. Abu cast a consulting glance at Nani. Nani comforted Abu by shaking his neck and said, "Son, you all go to your room. My sisters and Ali left. Come here to me." Nani called Kulsum Baji towards her with great love. Kulsum got up in front of Baji Abu and went to Nani and sat down. Nani loved him then said, "Your house will not be destroyed. This is my promise. Just answer truthfully what I ask." Kulsum Baji nodded his neck in agreement. "What kind of boy is this Tanvir?" Nani asked Kulsum Baji. "Okay," said Kulsum Baji, surprised. "No problem." Nani immediately asked the next question. "There is no fault, he only eats pan with tobacco. Anything else? And there's no harm in that." "Yes, I remember, on the day of the holiday, the goody also flies on the roof." "Whose name is the house with Gwalmandi?" Nani asked the next thing. "Kalo JK. There is something in Tanvir's name too." Nani said thinking. "Yes, both brothers have bought 5 Marla plots in China scheme." Kulsum Baji said proudly. Nani was thinking about something. We were all looking at Nani. Kulsum Baji's voice broke the chain of silence. "BBG is the biggest mistake I forgot to tell you." Our attention immediately went to Kulsum Baji. Kulsum Baji began to tell with great concern. "BBG. Tanvir Lai looks very good." Abu laughed at Kulsum Baji's stupidity. I also smiled a little, but Nani remained serious. "Let's get up." Nani got up from her place. "Where?" Ami asked in surprise. Your father's house. Nanny, Ami went to Taya's house with Abu and Kulsum Baji. After closing the outer door, I was going to my room from the yard when Ali came out of my sister's room and started climbing the stairs. We both came in front of each other. I said Thana. Ali spoke with a triumphant smile. What? I asked in surprise. Half the work has been done. Aliyah reported this and went up the stairs. I was already worried. Ali's sentence from above made me more worried. The night was passing and my anxiety was increasing. Late at night Ami Abu and Nanny returned back. Ami Abu went to his room as soon as he came. I wanted to ask Nanny what had happened at Taya's house, but Nanny only said, "Sleep now, I will tell you in the morning." After saying this, Nanny went to Haram and Tarim's room. I cut the eyes of the unbeliever who was sleeping that night. Today I wonder why I was not sleeping that night. Sonia was about to get married and Bisma was married. I didn't want to marry Arifa, that was going to happen, I was still worried. The fickleness of the heart was beyond my understanding even then and it is still a mystery today. Hashtag. Next morning Abu went to Tayaji's house early. Ami got busy making breakfast. When I saw this, Rizai went back to his room and lay down. After a while, Nanny came to my room. You are still sleeping, son of Miraz. I sat up. Nanny sat next to me on my bed and kissed my cheek and said, Maruz, couples are made in the heavens. So don't lose heart my child. I do not get it. Today, Tanvir's marriage is your place with Arifa. In a moment, I became a snowflake instead of a living person. It is true that I did not want to marry Arifa. It is also true that I was deeply shocked to hear this. It is also a fact that till date no scale has been created to measure happiness and sadness. If it had happened, this grief would have been as big as the one I got at the time of Sonia's engagement or Bisma's marriage. Mullah's run to the mosque and mine to the terrace. I threw Rizai aside and went to the roof. Suraj Sahib came to duty after many days that day. There was a lovely sun. I sat face down on the broken chair. After a while someone's hand came on my shoulder. I looked back and Nabil was standing. Nabil himself picked me up from the chair and hugged me to his chest. BBG has told me everything. Nabil patted me and said. There was moisture in my eyes that wanted to melt into tears and tears wanted to be released from the prison of the eyes. Nabil, examining my face, said. Don't cry, men don't look good when they cry. A man has a heart in his chest, he also gets hurt, tears come out when he gets hurt. It's good that you lost your life with Arifa. Who did you want to marry her? Sonia, after Basma, I also fell in love with Arifa. By Nashda. Ali was standing behind both of us with the tray in her hands. When did you come? Nabil asked Ali. When you said BBG has told me everything. Ali replied, keeping the breakfast tray on the table and left after saying something more. Hashtag. On Friday night I was thinking while lying on my bed today Arifa also became Tanvir and I. Nanny entered my room. I rolled my eyes. You can't sleep by closing your empty eyes, Mera's son. Nanny said while dragging the chair towards my bed. Nanny sat on the chair. You see, I will bring a moonlight bride for you. I had heard similar lines from Nanny's mouth twice before. I opened my eyes and looked at Nanny. She was looking at me. I sat up. Whatever happens happens for good. Grandma's right hand was on my cheek. I replied in frustration. Why does such a good thing happen to me? Nanny thought. Nanny either didn't have an answer to my question or thought it best to remain silent. They got up and started leaving. I held her hand and she sat down. There was silence between us for a while. Then Nanny herself started telling me the details. It was my decision. I could not destroy Kulsum's house to settle your house. If Arifa and Tanvir were not married, Shabir would have divorced Kulsum. When Nanny paused, I quickly spoke. Now what is the guarantee that Shabir will not divorce Kulsum Baji and Tanvir will not divorce Arifa? A serious smile appeared on Nanny's lips and she started saying. Now those two brothers will think 1,000 times before even uttering the word divorce. I looked at Nanny with questioning eyes. I have written the plots of Shabir and Tanvir in Hakmer. Whose right dowry? I asked in a hurry. Shabir's plot belongs to Kulsum and Tanvir belongs to Arifa. There is a little happiness in writing the plot right. Only men follow their wives and only such men are ruled by wives. It was too late for these words to come out of the grandmother's mouth. I also started to boil. I'm too lazy. You had instilled in my mind since childhood that Sonia and you would be a great couple. I fell in love with Sonia. Then you said I have found a very lovely girl for you, my Bisma, and I got mad at the stupid Bisma. After Bisma's marriage, you consoled me and told me that Arifa is also a very good girl and she also loves you. After hearing this from your mouth, I started liking Arifa too. Now you are giving me new hope after marrying Arifa to Tanvir. To see you, I will bring you a moonlike bride. Bus Nanny bus. Now I don't believe anything you say. I got emotional and abused Nanny and got up and went to the roof again. Nanny's knees hurt and I knew she couldn't come up to the roof.